back out here at the goat pasture again today, and we're out on here on the third paddock in our series of 4 paddocks where we're conducting some higher density grazing, or at least higher density for us. We've got 157 nannies and 186 kids on about 7.5 acres right now. The paddock on my left is one that we grazed. We moved these goats out of this paddock yesterday afternoon, and as you can see behind me, there's some briars just right over here that they really cleaned up compared to what's on the other side of the fence. So we're pretty happy about that. Been getting a lot of rain here. Been raining kind of every day. These goats they're not grazing maybe quite as much as they would if we were having good clear weather. They kind of bunch up under a tree or bush, so we know that they're not grazing to their full capacity yet. We're still fairly happy with the results that we're seeing. Like I said in my earlier video, the greenbrier, ragweed, and some plum tree thickets are some of the plant species that we were really hoping to target and focus in on and strip down as much as we could. Seen a lot of good results with the greenbrier, like what's over my shoulder, whereas the ragweed, we're seeing them consume a lot of it, but there was just so much in this particular portion of the ranch that we're on that there's still a fair amount left of plants that are untouched. So, you know, what can you do about that? I don't know. I guess a higher density graze, or we just need to get more animals out here. Plum tree thickets, I'd say we're getting maybe half the effect that we would like to really see, but still getting them stripped down more so than we would if we did our traditional grazing method, where these four paddocks, we would combine those and be on them for maybe 7 days. I think we're seeing a greater grazing pressure put on these plants than what we would do over the same area, you know, over that period of time. So, and I don't feel like we're stressing these goats any. I'm just walking around, just watching these goats work on this feed and looking at them, at their body condition, and just how full they look through their flank. You know, how full their gut looks. I don't think that we're really putting too much pressure on any of these goats out here as far as nutrition goes. So I feel good about what we're doing for the goats' purpose, as well as for trying to knock down these weeds and this brush a little bit. So like I say, we're gonna keep grazing this paddock here for another maybe 2 days, and then move them down one more, and that'll be our 4th paddock in this series of higher density grazing. So anyhow, talking about all this, you know, brush and weed control, I thought it'd be neat to show you guys this greenbrier. You know, this is they just got turned out here yesterday, whatever, but you know, the purpose of trying to maybe stomp out this greenbrier, like why are we trying to do that? I think if you peel this greenbrier back and look down in the middle of it, okay, and I mean, this is all just dead thatch. It's all that's down here. There's nothing green and growing down below here, and that's just because these leaves are capturing that solar energy and not letting it get down to here. Whereas just right over here, where we don't have any greenbrier, granted it's all weeds, okay, but we do have some grass mixed in here. My point of the story is to try to knock down this brush so that sunlight can get onto the ground, and that we can grow grass, a better stand of grass is the why of what we're doing right here. Like I said already, we do have a stand of weeds in here that's overpowering, and we're trying to knock that down as well. But this is just a really good example of what inside these green briars, you know, what it's doing underneath there. There's just not very much green growing down in there, and that's the case for any of these thick stands of green briars. We look down at this one, it's the same thing. It's all just dead thatch down there, not growing anything green. So just a little bit of some of the why of what we're doing. So I thought I'd take the time just to show you guys a couple other plants that are plants that we're happy about these goats working on a little bit. This here is a thistle. I believe this is a Scotch thistle. You can see over there, one still has some heads on it. Right there, that pink head sticking up. And then right behind us here is another plant that they've ate a lot off of it. Ate the heads off of them, the seed heads off of them, along with a little bit of the leaves. Then over here, we have some blackberry bushes that these goats have gone to work on. Mind you, they've only been in this paddock for 24 hours, okay, and they've got another 48 or so to work on it. And so they'll work these down even further so yet, these blackberry bushes. And you can see this kind of little area right here. This is just these blackberry thickets. I mean, they can get almost as tall as a house in some of these places on this ranch that we're on. And so this little area, it's trying to do that. It's trying to turn into that. So this might be a place where we can actually stop it from turning into that, because we're getting on here trying to graze it this way. So, you know, time will only tell what really happens, but this is a little spot where we might actually prevent this from turning into a full-blown thicket with bare ground underneath, not growing anything else anywhere. There's a couple other plants I wanted to show you guys. We got some weed here that I need to go home and identify that these goats are not eating. They're not eating this at all. And there's a fair little bit of it out here. And so I need to look this up and figure out what this is. Maybe somebody who's smarter than me can leave something in the comments about what they think this is, and we'll see what this weed turns out to be. But we've got a fair little bit of it here, and they're not touching this at all. So I don't know what else. Oh, somebody had asked about mesquites and how these goats are working on these mesquite trees. Earlier in the year, when these mesquites first started leafing out, these goats were really going to it. And now they've backed off of them. And I don't know if that's because the mesquites lost palatability to it, or if there's just so many other really good things that are leafing out and they're going to those things rather than to those mesquite trees. But earlier on, before we worked our goats, you know, from like that April time period, basically, they were really hitting the mesquites hard as they were leafing out and growing real fast. So right now, not so much. You know, we just now, even though we screwed them down onto these smaller paddocks and a higher concentration, I'm still not seeing them really go to the mesquite trees that are in these paddocks. So to answer one of our subscribers' questions. All right, so this is another little weed that we found that these goats are really going to and chomping down on. I'm not sure what it is, and they've ate the head of it off. So I'm gonna go back home and do a little research and try to figure out what this is. But maybe somebody out there can tell just by looking at this without even the seed head on it or the flower part of it on there. Can tell by looking at it. But these plants are far and few between. They're spaced out, but these goats have really, I've noticed, gone to eating on this. So maybe we'll get back to you on those the weed that I showed you just a second ago that we didn't know that they're not eating on, that I'd like for them to be utilizing, and figure out what this is as well. So just be a little scavenger hunt of sorts. Guys along and kind of show you some of our progress. I think this little fence line right here is a great comparison of before and after. You can really kind of see what they're doing. So hopefully somebody at home enjoys this, and looking forward to the next video, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.